Question for the group, back to the prawn discussion, what if free prawn was banned? You'd have to pay and be taxed, like tobacco/alcohol. Brian, keep up the great show.
I can see that.
If that's a compromise, then great.
That's OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Kids
That's
don't got
fine.
bank accounts.
Better.
Yeah. And everyone gets
That's
paid.
OnlyFans.
I don't know what's better.
Because when it's
if
consensual.
It's like paywalled 100% versus.
I'm not necessarily saying anything against the fact that there's two consenting adults interacting in a sexual manner. That's up to them. They have the right to do that. I'm saying that I think that it's a net bad for the reason that people are creating parasocial relationships with somebody that does not exist, and that is also harming their dating life. It's harming their mental health, their ability to interact with individuals, especially in a romantic sense, and it affects their hormones.
You can
The
argue
way
that with celebrities too. People make
social media.
Yeah, there's people.
I'm
that
not
use-
saying that there isn't an argument for that. There absolutely is an
But we
argument.
can't
for
ban
that.
everything, right? Parasocial relationships are something we're going to have to like evolve to
There's
understand
studies
and
behind
progress.
parasocial relationships that it can lead to people like becoming more social. While yes, I agree that unhealthy parasocial relationships exist, it can help people become more social. There's like entire
Yeah,
papers
I
around
think
this.
what you're talking about are people that deal with some sort of like disorder,
anxiety,
maybe
yeah.
on the autistic spectrum,
Yeah.
and they get married to someone on World of Warcraft or
Yeah.
something like that. I think you're dealing with outside, like 2 standard deviations outside the norm with something like that.
And I want to like say I completely agree that there definitely is like unhealthy versions of prawn. Like I do not like Pornhub at all. Like I think that there's a lot of problems behind that. But I'm completely on board with like stuff like OnlyFans and like a prawn that requires like more art, like hentai and stuff. So because it's not affecting anybody personally, like as trafficking and stuff.
And it's not as easily accessible to children to just like open up their phones and see the most like vile, disgusting things for their brain.
Yeah, so I mean, for the OnlyFans thing, yeah, I understand the argument in terms of creators being their own managers and being able to benefit in that sense and be their own boss in a way. I can understand the argument for that in the sense of OnlyFans compared to other options. But like I said earlier, there's less censorship around OnlyFans because it is not a pornography website.
It should be.
At this point, it should be. It was not created for that purpose, but there's no regulation around it. Therefore, people can post whatever they want, basically. But because there are no regulations, there's no like proper age verification. There are lots of stories.
I think there's a lot of issues
No, there are
with
lots.
On what?
Fans and
There is improper age verification on OnlyFans?
yes, there.
You're not required to submit your ID and
I'm
a
not
picture
saying
of
no,
yourself.
You can fake
I'm
an
not-
ID.
Yeah, I was gonna say there have been many stories of
But the average OnlyFans user is like 29 years old anyways, so.
But I do think that the popularity of OnlyFans, like I'm for OnlyFans, but I'm also, it does need to be regulated because joining OnlyFans very early on, like at age 18, is very unhealthy for a woman.
Absolutely.
Well, there are many people that have joined underage
But it
because
does
they'll
come
use up
from
somebody
that, yeah.
somebody else's ID. There's a lot like
But
a
it's
lot
more
of
Right, but
unhealthy
we
to
can't-
watch it when you're young rather than to be a part of it when
People
you're
are
older.
going to
That's
have
facts.
urges that like.
But
people
what's the
get-
solution? You can't just ban it
look
altogether,
at
right? So
Utah.
you do the best that you can, and if there are people that get by through that, then there are people that get by through that. That's the nature of society and human flaw. Like, I don't understand.
Did you guys see Utah now? Like, you have to, I think you have to upload, like, if you go on any plus 18 site, you have to, like, upload your ID and, like, your full name.
That's the same thing for like OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're
No,
talking
like-
about 2 different things. She is talking about a creator. You're talking about using. She's saying as a creator.
No,
for
no, no.
Only-
I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
in
Talking about
Utah,
using-
if you're a
I
random
didn't know
Joe
that.
Schmo and you go on Pornhub.com, before you
Oh,
can
wow.
enter, you need to give your information. Oh, sorry. You need
That's
to
a
give
good
your
idea.
information.
I think that's a good idea.
Shout out to Utah.
I find it's a little intrusive.
Why?
Personally.
Everyone.
That's a great idea.
If you want to
Whether you're-
engage in plus 18 websites, then you should have
Yeah.
to verify
Yeah, if
it
you
to
want to
a-
buy alcohol,
Yeah,
you
great
have to show your
idea.
ID to show your
That's
21.
Right.
Josh
Thank you,
donated
Josh. Appreciate it.
$99.
Thank you, man.
America, look yourselves in the mirror and ask yourself, would I give up my right to view pornography to destroy the extreme negatives from the industry and
Thank you.
restore the dating marketplace for all ages and the traditional family? Politics have blinded you.
Honestly, though, thank you, Josh, for your TTS. Honestly, like prawn ain't the best, but I think social media and dating apps have had a much more
Agreed.
negative impact
yes.
than because prawn's been around since fucking
The
a long time. Like there's Playboy, there's magazines and shit. Obviously now it's much more accessible. However, I think the rapid transformation of the dating marketplace, I think, is more due to social media in dating apps. So
I agree with that because sex work has been around since the
Yeah.
beginning of time. So
Just because
should we
something's been
legalize
around for the beginning of time doesn't
prostitution?
make it a net
That's
good.
another-
Isn't
So
it
then
legal,
would you
like, in
say that
some
the same
places?
would you say the same about being traditional, right? Because like if you're traditional and you want to withhold that, and you would agree that keeping that from like you're
That doesn't
taking
apply to that logic doesn't apply to everything in life. If that logic applied to everything, then everything would be a net bad.
That's not true. Can you
I would
explain?
100% ban porn, 100%, because I started having a porn addiction at the age of 7 years old, and I'm looking back.
But not everyone's gonna have
Not
that problem.
everybody's going to, but I'm gonna tell you right now how that affected my life, my relationships. I wanted to recreate them scenes instead of being a part of a normal relationship.
I definitely.
So
Yeah.
like that, none of the dating apps, social media made me want to do that.
Here's the thing. So what has done, Dr. Andrew Huberman does a really great, he has some very great speeches on this. You guys can look it up. He went on Joe Rogan and had a very eloquent description. He talks about it sets your dopamine levels super high, and then they're sort of set there, and you can't reset them. So meaning like everything has to compare to the threesome porn experience that you had on Pornhub, whatever, right? Okay. Now, the thing is where now we have men looking at unrealistic things, women at the same time are now able to message their favorite rapper and have one-off sexual experiences with celebrities and really good-looking men that they find that they would not have had access to before social media. So as men have this unrealistic expectation from what they see from adult performers, women now also have an unrealistic expectation because they can have sex with a high-status man but cannot keep one. And now where it gets even worse is now they start comparing every sexual experience or every relationship they had to that one time they Blake Griffin. That's becomes this situation.
Just because
Does that make
Blake
sense?
Griffin who is that?
He was a
Country singer.
no
Just
Blake
because-
Griffin. Blake Griffin was the power forward
player?
he was the power
On
forward
The
for the
Voice?
Clippers, and he was and he was with Kylie Jenner.
Just because someone has high status though doesn't necessarily mean they're good in bed.
No, it doesn't matter. My
that
point
part.
is she had access. Like again,
Okay.
when you think about your baseball player, one day you hit 4 home runs, you start comparing your rest of the career to that one great day that you had. It's the same situation. Or you hit 3 ace pairs in a row, and you just take everybody's money playing poker. You keep comparing yourself to that one great thing that you did. In this situation, every woman who had a one night stand with Drake or someone like that, she's kind of in her mind ruined for a normal dude in a normal relationship from that point forward. And I hear this all the time, especially from women who live in Los Angeles. They're like, I dated so-and-so. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I know him and his wife. He f***ed you for sure, maybe twice. You never dated him. If I look up pictures of you and him on a red carpet somewhere, there are none. There's pictures of him and his wife. You never dated him. And the fact that she even has the mental, the thought, the imagination that she dated him. Now think about that. In her mind, now that's what she compares every relationship to. So she ends up dating a fucking shortstop for the Dodgers, or ends up sleeping with him like 2 or 3 times. In her mind, she dated him, and now every single person she goes up, she dates from that point forward,
Doesn't
has to make the $20 million a year guaranteed contract, has to be this tall, and in her mind, that's who she wants. And when things are dissatisfying in the relationship, and the shortstop texts her in the middle of the night, she is just far more likely to go back to him. Does everybody understand? That is how social media has fucked up dating.
Yep.
That's how it is.
You make a good point, because it's not just about looking and watching. It's about comparing, where I think people are unable to separate that part of their brain that contrasts, whether it's social media.
Well, sure, yeah, because your brain is not evolved. The same thing can happen with, like, if you watch a TV show long enough. Or the same thing happens with my podcast. People come up to me all the time. I'm sure it happens to Brian all the time. People come up to us and start telling us their life story like we know them, but we don't know them. They watch us for hours every week. They know our whole story, but then they're talking to us like we don't know them, because their brain is not evolved to witness some other human every day, 6 days a week, and then not think that they actually don't know them. Because your brain cannot tell the difference between the two-dimensional objects on the screen and then the other tribe members that you lived with 50,000 years ago, your ancestors lived with. You're not evolved to know the difference. So of course, yeah, I agree with that. So for women, it's like there is an unrealistic belief that because I slept with this country singer, this famous country singer, that is what I deserve every time. And for men, because I witnessed this sexual act on this adult website, that this is what sex is supposed to be for me. Now we have both genders seeing unrealistic expectations, and this is what's ruining dating.
Wait, I
Does
have a
everybody understand?
question. I know you don't know the fact, but what percentage of porn watchers do you think have a healthy relationship with it?
Probably really
Do you think
small.
majority
No,
or
I-
minority?
to be-
Minority.
The large minority.
To be honest with you, here's what I think. It depends on how much they watch, and there's so many people that watch adult content that I'm sure some of them do have healthy relationships.
Yeah, I'm
but
just-
in general, like there's a lot of people who don't watch adult content who don't have healthy relationships. We have
Mm.
a 53% divorce rate in this country, and 78% of divorces are initiated by women. So like I don't think no one's winning right now. Okay, the only people who are winning are like puritanical Christians who get married as virgins. Like they're the only people. Shout out to Ruslan. I know he's gonna clip this. Like they're the only people who are like actually doing well. The rest of us are just like slightly better than chance. That's what's happening.